We leased this brand new Tesla Model Y to not drive it, which sounds absurd, but the goal of this series is to see if this car can drive completely hands-free for 2,000 miles, or as some of you very cleverly suggested in the previous video, 2,026 miles should be our goal. But in this video, we're going to give a full, honest, and independent review of the Model Y from someone who put their hard-earned money out to lease it. Now, this new Model Y is the facelift, and the easiest way to tell the new from the old are light bars. So here in the front end, we've got this continuous light bar that connects the left and the right side of the car. If you get the base Model Y, you don't actually get that little center bit, and then the headlights have moved down here, and there is a low-mounted front camera on this new one. Some of the easy ways to tell the old from the new, but as a whole, I think the more angular look really fits the profile of the Model Y. I always thought the old one was a little bit whale-like. Now, the coolest part of this car is actually at the back. Rather than incorporate a continuous light bar across the rear, as is so common with most new cars, Tesla has hidden the light bar behind this rear fascia and then has allowed it to project itself down here on this panel, giving it a very holographic effect. And I think that looks absolutely brilliant. One area where Tesla is still struggling with design is their aero wheels. Now, I know this design is great for efficiency, but as a whole, it doesn't match the cohesive nature of the exterior. It really just makes it seem like a base model from the 1980s. It almost looks like a cheap Steely with the hubcap rather than something premium that you'd expect from a $50,000 groundbreaking electric car. Tesla has done a great job in maximizing the cargo space inside the new Model Y. Now, underneath the power liftgate, you're going to find 29 cubic feet worth of space with the seats up, but the magic trick of the Model Y is the storage underneath the floor. It's a two-piece floor. You've got one massive cubby and then one smaller area there up front, but this is a truly useful area of the car. One thing you're not going to find is any kind of spare tire. Now, to fold the seats in the Model Y, they've gone full electric. So push a button here, push a button here. Those will glide down and expand the cargo space to 71.4 cubic feet. Now let's do the camping test. I'm 6 feet tall. Will I fit fully inside the car? Yes, I will. So a very impressive amount of space in a relatively compact package, and that's even before we get to the frunk. More on that in a sec. Grok, review the new Tesla Model Y.
The new 2026 Tesla Model Y, called the Juniper Refresh, looks sleeker with slim headlights, full-width light bars front and rear, and a more aerodynamic body. Inside, it's way quieter thanks to better sound deadening and acoustic glass, with comfier ventilated seats, a rear 8-inch screen, and a smoother ride from reworked suspension. Reviews say range hits up to 337 miles real world, 0 to 60 in as quick as 3.3 seconds.
Wow, look at that. AI is doing my job. I've never had a new car review itself. I've also never had a new car drive completely on its own in most situations. This is a really unprecedented review for me because, well, nothing's normal in this Model Y. Everything's a little bit different, and we're letting the car self-drive now back to our offices through a construction zone, and I'm not allowed to touch any of the controls in this car whatsoever, and it has trying to stop at a guy that says slow, so I might have to take over. All right, well, this is going to be a very interesting review. Stepping inside the Tesla Model Y, we see a number of improvements over the outgoing model, starting with the seats. Now, this is a premium Model Y, and Tesla equips this car with what they call vegan leather seats, but it essentially feels like a high-quality vinyl. Now, that's not that different than the old one, but the perforation is nice, and included with the perforation on this car are both heating and ventilation functions, which is great in the summer. I also think that these seats are a little bit more supportive than the outgoing model. There's a couple of things in here too which I really appreciate over some of the direction Tesla's taken recently. For example, they've included an old-fashioned turn signal stock here, which is fantastic over the buttons. It's simple, it's easier to use, and it's always where you leave it, which is a great improvement. A couple other nice things in here. I really like this little strip of fabric across the dash. Not that it does anything, but it does, you know, mix up some of the interior materials a little bit, and the ambient lighting in this car is awesome. So all of that are really nice improvements over the outgoing one, along with some storage features. Tesla has by far the best wireless charger in the industry, and what's even better than that is there are two of them, one for the driver and one for the passenger, which is a great addition that not a lot of cars have, even in 2026. Now, for this new facelift Model Y, we also have these larger bins, and this truly is an absolute pit. My phone has dropped about 3/4 of a mile, and excuse this cabling here and this kind of funky looking dash cam. We're using this for the 2,000 mile series, and if you're wondering why don't we just use the internal dash cam, we're using that as well, but we've got that one as a backup. Two cup holders here, and then as I lift open the center console, you're also going to find it's a pretty darn large center console as well. So from a storage standpoint, Tesla's done a nice job. They've also increased the size of the door bin, so now they fit bottles a little bit better. This is a very useful and overall quite well made interior. Plus, if you get a premium one like this one, we're looking at 15 speakers plus a subwoofer. Very impressive. Now, as I mentioned, I'm not allowed to drive this car, so I can't really tell you what it drives like, but there are some things I do notice over the old one that we've owned, and I've spent many thousands of miles behind the wheel. The ride quality is much improved in this new generation of Model Y. The old one was very crashy over big bumps and would kind of jitter your teeth out over the small bumps. So this is a big improvement. And actually the sound deadening in here, they say it's been improved, and the reality from where I'm sitting means that this is a much quieter experience. Now let's talk about full self-driving. It's definitely a controversial feature inside this new Model Y. We're here at a stop sign. It's kind of a tricky intersection, and it's managed that brilliantly. The Model Y uses 8 cameras throughout the vehicle to position it in its lane, monitor traffic, and find out how to best safely drive you to your destination. It's still a supervised level 2 system, so I am still ultimately responsible for anything the car does or doesn't do correctly. But it is pretty incredible technology, at least for now. And I'm really excited to spend a week with it to see if it does build my confidence, because I am very skeptical that 8 cameras, and granted a very powerful computer, but just a computer can successfully drive you or your family safely wherever you want to go. Now we are on software 14.2.2, which is as of filming the current update. But one of the interesting things about this system is there's actually different aggression modes. So right now we're in the standard mode, and it appears to be doing about 1 mile an hour over the speed limit. The speed limit here is 55. There it goes. It's actually holding 55 pretty well. But if I jack it up to the Mad Max mode, watch what happens to that speed. Allegedly, the speed limit is still 55, 57, and now it's doing 59. So will it do 60, 58? Oh, interesting. On this stretch of road, I've seen it as high as 70 in the Mad Max mode. So there are some ethical dilemmas going on here. Like, should we be programming computers to break the law? Well, should we be programming computers to keep up with traffic is a counter argument to that. And I would love to know what you guys think in the comment section below. But like I said, I'm not allowed to technically drive the car. So even though this vehicle will allegedly do 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds, which is very impressive, I won't be doing that today. Unless the computer decides maybe we take a trip to the drag strip, which would be pretty awesome of the computer to decide. Now, to open the front trunk of the Tesla, you can either do it from the screen inside or via the app. I do wish Tesla would incorporate some kind of button or switch into the front of this car, much like they have for the trunk, so you don't have to pull out your phone or hop inside, but that's just a small complaint. And under the front trunk, we're going to find a fairly large trunk with a lot of depth. So we're looking at 4.1 cubic feet worth of space here, a very useful bin, and another nice feature they've included down here is an integrated drain plug. So for example, if you wanted to throw your wetsuit in here after you've gone surfing, not that I would know what that is because Does it look like I surf? I don't do anything. But if you do have friends, which I don't have either, and you want to go to a tailgate, which I don't do either, you could fill this up with ice and fill it up with beverages and then let the ice slowly drain out the bottom of the car. So really thoughtful feature having that little drain plug in there. Now the centerpiece of the Model Y interior is this 16-inch screen which controls essentially every function within the car. Now there are some pros and cons to the system. First of all, I want to point out, I find it really easy to use as a whole. I find that the music integration, the navigation integration is probably the best in the industry. They have done a really, really, really good job. Along with navigating some of the settings, it's just very simple and straightforward. So they've done a great job with the native system, and there was a report back in November that Tesla was looking into adding CarPlay to the system. Now, nothing officially confirmed, but of course, this car does utilize over-the-air updates. Now, my problems with the system is that every piece of functionality is baked into the screen. What I mean by that is they make a couple of things needlessly hard to control. For example, I still don't love having electronic climate controls when buttons just do it faster and more simply. Now, when you're in this system, it is fairly easy to understand, but it does take a couple of extra steps to access. And there's a couple of kind of goofy things. So right now I've got the climate control turned off. Let's say I want to turn on the ventilated seat. So one way I thought I would be able to do that is to go into Grok. Hey Grok, turn on my ventilated seat.
Sorry, I can't control seat ventilation. Check the touchscreen under climate or seats to turn it on manually.
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. Go away, Grok. So if I want to turn on the ventilated seats, I then have to go into climate control, which the easiest way to do that is to click there, swipe up. Then it turns on the climate, which I don't want. I just want the ventilated seats, and it keeps turning on the climate. Otherwise, I think I have to find the seat control somewhere in here. There we go, left seat. Cool. So what I mean is, look, you get used to it, certainly, but it's just a little bit more clunky compared to just having a button. The other thing which is a little bit frustrating, although you get over it quite quickly, is everything is in the screen in terms of your major controls. For example, your headlights, your mirrors, even your drive selector forward and backward here is in the screen. Now the drive selector you do get used to. The mirror selector is a little bit annoying having to use the buttons, but something you can program to a user profile. The one thing which I think is incredibly dumb, however, is the fact that this car has such a groundbreaking full self-driving system. It has 8 cameras, but it doesn't actually have a 360-degree camera. You can see, of course, your rear and your side cams, but no top view, which a lot of cars in this segment have, which I do think is a little bit weird. So hopping into the back of the Model Y, this is my driving position at 6 feet tall. Legroom is pretty good, and headroom, even with this full panel sunroof, is excellent. So they have managed that very, very well. Plus, in this new Model Y with the power folding seats, you do get just the teeny tiniest bit of recline. Now, one of the highlights back here is this new 8-inch screen, which does offer some limited functionality compared to the front screen, but it does have an arcade mode, and Videographer Cole does tell me that Stardew Valley is a genuinely fun game, so I'm really glad to see that. But this also has the dumbest feature inside the entire Model Y, both front and back, and that is the electronically controlled air vents. Rather than just giving you a little swivel, they give you this oar which you use to control where the air flows. It's the same thing in the front, and it is so frustrating. It is over-engineering for the sake of over-engineering, and it just seems to me something else to fail. So that's a big miss for me. Not a deal breaker, but definitely a frustration and just something that's so dumb. Tesla, why are you doing that? Front and back, really? It's funny, the base Model Y back here, they say in like their website, like, ooh, you know, you have to manually adjust your air vents. That's kind of how it seems on the little spec sheet. And when I read that, I was like, heck yeah! Base Model Y in the back, at least, you get manually adjustable air vents. Anyway, off my soapbox. Let's keep going with this review. Don't hit the fire truck. Don't hit the fire truck. Yay, didn't hit the fire truck. So pricing on the Model Y. Now the base model Juniper starts at about $39,000 and change, actually a tick under $40,000. This premium all-wheel drive that I'm sitting in now comes in at about $52,000 MSRP. We are leasing it, however, for $420 a month, and that was taking advantage of the expiring $3,750 Colorado tax credit, so that price likely to go up now if you were to lease this car in Colorado. And then, you know, Model Y performance starts at right around $57,000, $58,000. So it is a lot of money for the upper end trims, but especially that base one coming in at about 40 grand. You know, that is an affordable proposition for a car with a lot of range, albeit some compromised features for that entry-level car. But I think pricing, especially the lease pricing on these Model Ys, is very impressive. And if you wait till the end of the quarter, wait till the end of the year, there are definitely deals to be had. In terms of range on the new Tesla Model Y, this one as spec is rated at 327, and this is likely to be the volume seller, the all-wheel drive premium. Now, the lowest range you can get in the Model Y is 306, which is on the performance, and the highest is in the kind of the long-range rear-wheel drive car, which is rated at over 350 miles. So as a whole, if these EPA numbers are correct, very impressive range numbers, as we continue to own this car, and especially when we can start driving it after 2,000 miles, we'll be sure to run a range test and see how it is in reality. Tesla, for me, without a doubt, has the best app integration in the business, bar none, period, no questions asked. The quickness, the responsiveness, and what you can do with this app is just unparalleled. It is so quick. There are so many things you can do. You can open up the trunk, the front, lock, unlock, charge port, vent the windows. You can see where the car is. You can grant access to other people. You can summon the car all through your phone. It's quick, it's fast, it works pretty much every time. I have yet to have this fail on me, and it's just the best. I've done a really, really good job with it. Now look, as a whole, I think that Tesla has done a really good job with this refreshed Model Y. Now, I haven't driven it, so I don't really know how it drives, and I'm still on the fence about the full self-driving technology, which is why I'm about to spend a full week with this car, which you can check out next Monday over here at TFL EV. But when you look at the car as a whole, from the layout on the inside, the storage capacity, and the number of features it offers, along with, we'll say, most of the integration, I think Tesla's done a really good job with this Model Y, and I just can't wait to drive it, because I think that'll really seal or break the deal for me. But as a whole, I'm very impressed with it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Behind the camera, this has been Cole. I'm Tommy. Head on over to alltfl.com if you want to see more real world reviews. Thanks for watching.